Hey you, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance medical copywriter and copywriting mentor. And today I want to talk with you about being productive while working from home or from anywhere. Because this is a huge shift that people make when they go from leaving a traditional 9 to 5 with a lot of structure, people looking over your shoulders. And it can be so exciting to be like, woo, I can work from home. I don't have to wear any pants. I don't have to get dressed. I don't even have to shower if I want. I know that's what I did hardcore for the first 3 months that I was successfully working from home. And what really quickly happens is people start to realize it can be really tough to work from home. And it can be really hard to stay productive and motivated. I mean, I would have days where I would like wander around in my pajamas and just like eat handfuls of food. I mean, I would eat so much out of just like weird boredom. I would eat weird things. I wouldn't see people for like a week. It was got a little weird. And so I definitely don't recommend that because it's not going to be your most productive version of yourself. So there are a few things that I have discovered over the years and put in place to really help me with that. So I'm going to share them with you. First and foremost is to get into a routine. I live by my routine. I actually even do most of my routines even on the weekends. And it doesn't really feel like an obligation because I enjoy them so much. So I try to make them things that I actually enjoy. So that means getting up, I usually do a little workout, I do a morning routine, I take a shower, and I get ready for the day. One thing I noticed is I am so much more productive if I put on an outfit that I like and I do my hair and I do my makeup and I go out for the day. So, yes, I know this is all about working from home, but I'm going to go ahead and recommend that you try not to do that every single day. Go to a coffee shop, or if you can afford it, invest in a co working space. A co working space has a lot of benefits. One, you're around other people working on their businesses, so you'll meet like minded people. And also, you don't have to actually spend a ton of money on coffee. And actually, one of the things I realized is it kind of was worth it when I added up all the money I was spending on coffees and lunches out and things like that. So it is so worth it to get out of the house. And then making your schedule the night before was a big game changer for me. When I started my day by making my to-do list, it started to sometimes stress me out or make me feel overwhelmed. So now I always, before, like actually usually at the end of my workday, I'll go ahead and plan out tomorrow's day. That's kind of how I wrap up my work days. And it's really helpful because then I can prioritize. I know what's coming, which reduces my anxiety, which is a huge benefit for me. And I also make sure to plan whatever the biggest, most important, scariest thing is first. And that really helps with procrastination and, just making sure you really get to work and knock things out. And that way you can tick off that one big thing right away instead of doing all the little, tasks that you do just to like scratch something off your to-do list. So that's super helpful. And then, yeah, surrounding yourself with like minded people. You can do that online. Those are, that's going to help you tremendously because they're going to have tips. Everybody has something that works for them. So it's really important to find exactly what works for you. But by far, the most important thing that I have found to help me with productivity is to create a routine and to actually get dressed as much as I love not wearing pants and working from the couch. The other thing is I don't check my emails first because that can send you off into a bunch of different tasks that you didn't really need to get started on. So if you start checking your emails first and you start doing that right away, then you're like creating invoices and scheduling new work and things like that when really you should be maybe writing. So definitely try not to answer your emails right away. That has helped me so much with productivity. There are a lot of tools I use also to help myself. Self Control app is a great tool to block certain websites, especially as writers. It's really hard for me to, if I start writing and if I have to suddenly stop and do something else, it's really hard for me to get back into that flow. So I use Self Control, which will stop me from going on things like Facebook and Instagram. I also turn my phone on airplane mode. And that is so helpful. And it's not on airplane mode all day. It's just on airplane mode for like an hour or two when I really, really need to focus. And that helps me so much. Another big thing that I recommend for productivity is to turn off the notifications on your phone. This means any dings, any buzzes. My phone is always on silent unless I'm expecting a call. And that helps so much. You are going to check your phone pretty regularly, so you're going to see the important stuff if somebody calls you. But having those little, like, we only have so much attention we can give, and anytime there's a little number, a little red number, or bouncing icon on your desktop, or things like that, it's really distracting. So I turned off all notifications on my phone. There are no little red icons with numbers in them anymore, and that way I am prepared to check my email when I want to check my email, not when it immediately arrives in my inbox, which really helps me stay focused. Also, you can use things like the tomato timer or other timers. That helps me a lot too, especially when I'm outlining my projects for the day. I'll go ahead and set aside some time for research, for headline development, for emails, and whatever. And I'll set a little timer for like 25 minutes so that I don't go over that time, because you can kind of just go down a rabbit hole. I also set timers for myself for breaks. And it's kind of one of those things I do it, so it's such a like second nature thing that I do, setting little timers, because I don't always actually set the timer anymore, but I'll look at the clock and say, okay, it's 12:40. I'm going to give myself 20 minutes to just mess around on Instagram, for example, because you need breaks. Or I'm going to give myself 20 minutes to go on a quick walk. I'm going to go around and get a coffee. And then that way I, limit my time and I know exactly where my time is going. And again, this is something that isn't going to be probably second nature to you when you get started, but now I do it it's so second nature to me that I barely even notice I'm doing it. Actually, a student asked me, how are you so good with your time? And I realize it's because I am constantly giving myself little deadlines throughout the day, like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, even 20-minute breaks, things like that. And then it doesn't feel like you're doing it out of like necessity or obligation, but you kind of just get into the swing of things, and that becomes a natural thing for you to do. I barely even notice I do it anymore, but I do it all day long, and it's super helpful for productivity. And then my final thing that I recommend is I kind of took that, I realized how important a routine was for me, and planning out my days the night before. And I actually recently went ahead and was like, you know what, why don't I do that for my week? So now every Sunday I plan out my week, and that's actually helped me really schedule in some good playtime too. Some good time to spend with family. I even put on my calendar now, like, call your mom. And it's just really helped me be a better friend, be a better family member, be a better person. It makes me have some time that I set aside where I'm like, oh, this is the time where I'm going to look and see what are some upcoming concerts, or what are some upcoming entrepreneurship events. And so every Sunday I spend like an hour where I go ahead and research things like that. And I've actually gotten to go to a lot more masterminds and meetups for entrepreneurship and things like that since I've started doing it. So I'm for sure going to continue doing that. It has helped me so much in balancing my time. I even schedule in like lunch dates, I make that Sunday time to be like, oh, I want to catch up with Julie. I haven't seen her in a long time. I'm going to totally reach out right now while I'm planning my week. Hey, do you want to grab lunch on Thursday? So planning out my week on Sundays, and again, it only takes me about, an hour, but it's really fun because I'm usually looking up like cool things to go to, things like that, has just made sure that I distribute my time and I'm not working too much, which can also be a problem when you're working from home or working from anywhere. And I've gotten better about that, because another thing that I've realized is I will use whatever time I allot myself for that task. So if I have a task that should take me 2 hours, but I give myself all day, I am going to take all day to do that. So when I'm doing that Sunday night scheduling or Sunday morning scheduling, usually, I'm like, this should take me 2 hours. So I'm going to schedule something at 2 p.m., which will limit my time spent on that project that should really only take me 2 hours. And that has helped so much in just filling my days with really fulfilling things. So yeah, I know what it's like. I know how exciting it can be to work from home and work from anywhere, and to think that you're going to be able to do it in your pajamas. And I totally encourage you, lean into that and enjoy it at first. But to stay productive, Most people need to implement some sort of routine. So figure out what works for you. What works for you? Share in the comments. I want to hear. I've gotten a lot of these suggestions from feedback from students. The tomato timer was something a student introduced me to. So I love hearing people's productivity hacks. And I want to hear from you. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. If you like this, that is how I know you want to see more videos like this. And of course, remember to hit subscribe. I will be releasing new videos every week. Thank you guys.